All right, so lots to cover here. I want to just ask all of you, if I may, to just talk about the initiatives, I guess, and the successes that you've had most recently. I know you've all got very comprehensive sustainable tourism strategies, but Minister, if I may start with you, what have you put in place and what's working for you in terms of, making your destination truly sustainable?
Well, Gibraltar is generally essentially not only a heritage site, but we are a nature reserve, marine reserve and our Upper Rock Nature Reserve. So our tourism product is intrinsically linked with the environment. So the management of our tourist sites fall under the Ministry of the Environment. So we work very closely together with that from a tourism perspective. So for us, all our initiatives have always been enshrined within our environmental and sustainable goals. For us at the moment on the cruising side, I know there was a lot spoken about before about cruising not being that sustainable. We are now currently providing LNG bunkering as well as biofuels. We're looking into onshore power as well. And for us as a destination, one thing, not just for a tourism perspective, but for us Gibraltarians living there, our power energy source is already LNG. So we've already phased out diesel. Our water is the same. We desalinate our own water, which means that we have less microplastics found within our water than in mineral water itself. We are working, we generally are, all our sites, as I said before, are heritage essentially sites. So we are reinvesting, rejuvenating, and working towards adding not just on the environmental side, but also from the employment perspective, because I'm also Minister for Employment, so I'm trying to link everything together. So tourism, employment, culture, everything works together. So for us, it's about creating jobs within the tourism sector. We're now rejuvenating a lot of the new heritage sites. So we're working together with a prison reinstatement program as well. So our workers come from essentially prison leavers, as well as people who are leaving rehab and people who might have some issues finding employment. We are helping them by giving them employment within this sector. This is where we're currently at. So, yes, that's where
Brilliant.
we're
All right, very holistic approach. Thank you very much. Alex, let's talk to you about Sustainable. It was something you launched a couple of years ago, but how successful has that been for you? I know it's got different levels. It's about engaging both visitors, but also the industry. So tell us how that's working.
Very impressed, Lucy. You've
done my research.
Homework.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, it's a program that we started a few years ago, about 4 or 5 years ago, called Sustainable, which basically has 3 goals. Goal number 1 is internal for us as a company. It made us realize that it's no longer enough to have a sustainability strategy. Now we don't have a sustainability strategy anymore. Our entire strategy as a company, as the Swiss National Tourism Board, is basically every single angle of our strategy has a sustainability focus. And to give that a little bit of a catchy name definitely helped internally as well, but it also helped within our entire industry in Switzerland. We realized that we are the only ones who could take the lead, together with the Hotel Association and many other partners, power of collaboration in this area, to run this program. And it's not a program where we created new certificates or any other new things that are actually not really needed. We basically just created a program which allows participants to use existing certificates or existing efforts and activities they already do in the area of sustainability to become part of this program. And as you said, to also to make it very obvious that sustainability is not something that you can achieve, or it's an on-off thing. It's a journey that basically has no.
So it's now embedded in everything, basically.
It's embedded in everything, and we have three levels to make sure people understand that you can always get better.
Yeah.
And always get better. And we have up to 3,000 different entities in Switzerland now, from hotels to destinations to mountain railways to any other tourism-related businesses.
And are they all working through those levels?
That are part of this program.
Yeah.
They're all at least level 1.
Yeah.
Many, like hundreds, are now on this level 3, which means you have to have certain certificates. You have to prove what you're doing, not just say you want to do something or show that you're doing something, but you actually need specific proof. And then the third big component of this sustainable initiative is the partnerships. within the industry. So we have, we just heard from the Travel Corporation. We have a big partnership with the Travel Corporation to bring sustainable into their programs in Switzerland. And they created an entire new program in Switzerland to also help us make the case in Switzerland, tell the different entities, hotels, everybody in Switzerland that this is not something nice to have, you know, join this or not. But the people from especially Trafalgar helped us very much to make the case that this is either you do business with someone like the Travel Corporation and you do this, you're part of this, you actually mean business, or you might drop off at some point, because this is what
so
tour operators are looking for.
So
very much so.
Okay.
And we had some speakers from the Travel Corporation in Switzerland at our domestic travel conference. Some very outspoken speakers who were very clear about that. You know, if you want to work with us in the future, this is what you have to do. Okay. And this, of course, helped us enormously to
So it's
make
definitely
the
a
case in
shift
Switzerland.
then, you're saying, from something you should maybe be doing, you'd like to do, but now it's actually becoming kind of compulsory.
Very much.
Okay, all right, we'll come back to that. Eleni, let's talk to you, because obviously you've lots of different strands to your sustainable policy, but in terms of successes that you had, I know one of them was to get people out to lesser known areas and also extend the season, and your latest report showed that that actually has been working.
Well, it seems it's working. It's a continuous effort, Lucy. We don't stop with that. Definitely, there's a lot of things, not only one. As a country, we are having a very big project with new 39 GR Eco Islands. We have already started back in 2019 with a GR Eco Island of Halki, of Tilos, and Astipalea, trying to implement the low carbon emission for the first of all for the inhabitants.
Pilot destinations
that was the first three ones, and now there are going to be 39 more Greek islands into that project that are going to bring low carbon emission for first of all for the habitants, and then of course for the people that they're going to visit, and so. Holistically, it is something that we see in general as a country, how can it be sustainable for tourism, but also for the local communities as well. Here in London and in our office, we started the Sustainable Greece platform, and this is something that we see that it's growing. And it's after 2 years, it's already doubled the initiatives and the projects that are within. And I go and connecting it with what Alex says, is that it's not just enough to be there, because we find out every day how many other and beautiful experiences there are in Greece. First of all, from one part from our stakeholders, and mainly, and most important, I would say, from the tour operators, the British tour operators here. So
you measure it in terms of how many people are sort of bought into this program. You're saying it's growing, but...
So it means growing that we find out, because one of the challenges that we're facing is communication. So great experiences like the one that TTC just mentioned now with Kontiki and Trafalgar. I have to say, I didn't know what Trafalgar was doing. I found out just 2 days ago when I had a meeting, and they explained all the travel matter experiences in places in Greece, like in Delphi, that I didn't know it was existed.
Okay.
So that is a very big gap, because there are so many things happening.
Yeah.
Not only for us that we are in the UK, but also within Greece, that you need to be able to communicate. And I think that it's one of the things that we are trying to put more focus on it.
Okay, all right. Well, I was going to come on to talk about challenges, so hold that thought. We'll come back to that. Pedro, let's just, you vowed in March that you were going to tackle a slight fall in the average trip duration amongst UK visitors with a focus on sustainability. So has that been happening since March? Is that something you've been able to do?
Yeah, well, before starting to speak, I would like to say thank you to Lucy and Travel Weekly and the rest of your team for having this opportunity and these initiatives and these meetings. I think it's already a success to have these kind of opportunities. Some years ago, we were talking about how we could do more. Now we are talking about how we can do better. So it's already a success to have this kind of meetings. Regarding our strategy I have to distinguish between national strategy and strategy at our tourist office here in London. Here in London, we have, since Manuel, the director, and me arrived in September 21, we adopted a long-term strategy based on sustainability. We understand sustainability in a very wide sense, with many sides to deal with. Talking about this year, in March we ran the second edition of our flagship event, the Spain Sustainability Day, which is a true forum of exchange of ideas between travel experts from the British travel industry and the Spanish travel industry. It's not about marketing, it's a real opportunity to have real debates. We cover hot topics such as accessibility or inclusivity, biodiversity, well, many issues to be covered.
And what are some of the results that are coming out? I mean, I was going to come on to talk about that day because it's one of the things that you've, as you say, it's the second year this year. But what are some of the results of that? I mean, it's great that you've got this forum, but what are you finding out that the British market wants that you're able to deliver?
Every year we elaborate a report of this issue. We share with our political authorities in Madrid, and well, our strategy is based on things that we learn from these kind of panels and summits. And so
can you give an example of one thing you've implemented as a result of those panels?
Yeah, well, for example, Mallorca or Asturias has established new products with specialized tour operators that they can find in these forums, for example. That's an example. 2024 marked also a major step in placing accessibility at the front of our national strategy here in London, with the launch of our Spain for All campaign.
Yeah.
Through 3 thought-provoking sessions with travel consultants, travel experts, and those who have had lived experience with disability. Well, we had 3 meetings between April and June, and then we elaborated our accessibility finding reports.
Yeah.
And we highlighted 5 key points. One is defining accessibility and ensuring inclusivity.
Yeah.
Another conclusion is to cover the gap information between companies and customers. Try to adapt the whole journey of the customer. Well, there are 5 conclusions. And we will also continue with this campaign because next year we will try to analyze one of our big destinations in order to see how they are doing accessibility and which kind of transformation we need to do better.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
So, all right. So the Spain for All program will continue. That's a big focus for you next year. That's sort of moving on from not just the environment. Christian, what about for Gibraltar? What are your priorities? I want to ask you what you're really going to be focusing on for next year.
Well, next year, from a sustainable perspective, we're launching the 25-year environmental plan. We've already got a lot of different management plans to protect our environment and Gibraltar as a whole. So we've got the nature reserve plan, and we've got the marine reserve plan, and we've also got the climate change plan. So this is something we're launching. This comes from feedback from working with different stakeholders and different members of the community. And it's the good thing about Gibraltar being small in size is that whatever we do encompasses the whole community. So tourism is a major part of our economy. It's a major part of how we run as a little country. And so everything that we do is not exclusive for tourism. So our focus is basically, we're working with a lot of NGOs as well. We have the luxury of being able to have close proximity to where they're at. We've got the Nautilus group that works with the marine environment as a whole, and we've got the environmental safety group that is a major part of all our developments because as we said, everything is a redevelopment of our natural heritage sites, or so everything needs to go through a planning commission, and the environmental group is a big part of that. So for us,
so you're launching this 2025 report, and
well,
is that?
Yeah, sorry.
Well, I was going to say, how far out is that? Is that for the next 5 years, or?
For the next 25 years.
20.
It's an environmental plan, so it's a management plan for the next 25 years. So hopefully we'll hit all the targets that we're meant to. We're a very small place, so if you've ever been to Gibraltar, Gibraltar, we realize that space isn't what we have. So for renewable energies, we need to find new and innovative ways to be able to, work with solar power, working with solar glass, and we're seeing how we can improve on this. And we've got, as I said before, our Minister for the Environment. Before he was a minister, he was an environmentalist and still is. So the environment has always been at the forefront of everything that we've done as a government.
Okay, all right, good stuff. You talk about collaboration there, and all of you, we've heard it a lot today already. So how much are you working then with airlines, hotel companies, tour operators? Alex, I ask you because you've obviously engaged the trade, you say, to travel better. So you're getting, I know you're doing a lot with agents and getting them on board, but talk about the collaboration with the UK industry from your destinations.
Yes, I mean, it's collaboration with the UK industry, but it's also collaboration especially with partners that help us get people to Switzerland and get people around Switzerland. So we have the representative of Lufthansa here. We work very closely with Swiss, sharing your initiatives, making sure that people find the right way to travel to Switzerland. If they want to explore the train, that's an option too, to get to Switzerland. So in many other European countries, obviously the train is easy and fast. Here it's obviously still much more convenient to fly. But then within Switzerland, we have this, I'm usually the smallest country on a panel. Today you win. Yeah. But we're a small country and we have an amazing infrastructure. So we work very, very closely with the Swiss different railways, with the Swiss travel system, because there's absolutely no reason why one should ever fly domestically. That actually doesn't really exist in Switzerland, or rent a car, or for tour operators go around by bus, because it's so convenient and so easy to travel with the different means of communication. It's also absolutely seamless, and it's a way to travel. You meet the locals on the trains and on the buses, etc. It's just a great, authentic way to travel. And that's also how we
about that, and that's obviously getting through to the UK consumer.
And that's what we try to, when we work with the tour operators, that's of course, step one is, you don't need that bus. Get people on the train. How can we help you? Can we create a special offer for you together with working with the Swiss Railway company? My colleague Andy, by the way, who's here, he'll be around also later to get more information about the Swiss Railway system. So that's what we're bringing into the discussion here with the tour operators, and they help us once again promote and push our sustainable agenda.
Good, all right. And Eleni, focus for you for 2025? I know at APTA you announced a new hotel accreditation scheme. So is that the big focus for you for next year?
Well, it is, but it also shows the challenges that we are facing for something like that. They announce it, they do, but they're still trying to find out how they're going to do it. Okay. So
the intention's there.
The intention, and I think all the practical part as well. It's the University of Athens behind it that they try to find out the scientific way of doing a certification like that, because it will be for the first time, to be honest, having a certification outside of the classical certification that already existing. So this shows that definitely the intention is there. Our intention for continuous collaboration with the tour operators, of course, it is. Greece is a country that tourism is, I would say at the moment, it's heavily dependent by aeroplanes and flights to go there, although we try to promote the slow traveling, and which takes quite a lot of time, but enjoyable time to arrive to Greece, which is one of the parts. But I think what it's most important, because you talk about synergies and challenge and collaborations, is the creation of this the Sustainable Travel Agora, a group, I would say, of people, because it's not an association, it's not a club, it's just getting together destinations, tour operators, travel agents, PR, communication, and journalists and experts, and at the same time, of course, APTA, institutions like Travel Foundation, and trying to discuss and see how we can go a step further after all these nice panels.
And I know it's only been, 2023 did it launch? You had your first event in Greece. Yes. So it's relatively new. I was at the last meeting actually at APTA. But and it was everyone was there and they were all talked about what the issues are. But what do you have you had any sort of wins yet, any successes or any sort of decisions or things that are going to come out of it? Because at the moment it seems very much like people are talking about the issues. What's your goal in terms of what it's going to achieve?
true. And actually, I think this is what a big part of what is the achievement in it, the success of it, that people would like to feel a safe place where you can be able to discuss. And out of that, we see results coming out.
Okay.
We saw the first time Tracy was also at the Agora in Crete. When we discussed it, we thought that what a great idea that Antor, our association as destinations, they could do and share with educating the travelers. At the same time, we had new collaborations coming out between tour operators and the travel experts.
Okay.
So we see things are coming out. We, as I said before, we doubled our initiatives, but not only personally, but I think the important thing is that when we're talking about synergies and collaboration, is what do we do with the synergies and collaborations?
Yeah.
So it's nice if we meet, but after that meeting, well, not literally after that meeting because it was Christmas time, EasyJet Holidays, they met with the Cladders Preservation Fund and they're able to make a collaboration and make an announcement for something specific that it will happen later in Greece. So I'm saying that putting people together.
So it's sort of a good networking, sharing best practice and creating sort of partnerships where you can do good together. That's the sort of the raison d'etre.
We have to record that so we can put it as a tagline when they ask us what it is.
And when you your success for you moving forward is to get more people involved in the Agora and then more of these collaborations. Is that what?
Yes,
the goal
as I
is?
said, it's not a club, so it's not exclusive. We want different people coming in. Intrepid is there. Exodus is coming in.
Because Spain is also
Spain was,
involved.
of course. Manuel was at the last Costa Navarino APTA conference. What is important is to see people not coming in and just sharing these ideas in a place where you can see things are going a step further, but it's not exclusive.
Yeah. What have you got out of it so far?
For next year, do you mean? Or?
Well, yeah, being part of the Agora. What is Spain?
It was Manuel. It was not Pedro.
I know it was Manuel, but
Well, no, but yeah, well,
I was there. I know you weren't there, but what has Spain as a tourist office got getting out of being part of the Agora? Have you learnt things? Have you put in place any sort of?
Yeah, of course. Well, this is not a question of competition between countries. It's a question of collaborating, not only with countries, with companies, with customers. Everybody needs to try to do their best in the travel industry to rethink the model and to face the challenges that we are facing in these days. So of course, it's just to be in Agora or to be in APTA conference in Greece is an opportunity to learn a lot of and to have a lot of new ideas to try to adapt to your country as well. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's talk about the biggest challenges, and I know funding is always up there as one of them. But Christian, what for your destination, and obviously you're in government, so it's slightly different for you. But what are the biggest challenges that you face?
For us in Gibraltar, the biggest challenges we face is Brexit. Remember, we're in a border with our neighbours in Spain. So for us, our main feeder market is the UK. So there's no problems with that for us. The UK can travel freely and we'll be able to all the time. But we're currently waiting on the deal to be finalised. So for us, cross-border tourism at the moment continues to work the same. We have an arrangement with Spain, so it keeps on working in a very positive way. But we don't know what's going to happen after the deal. So then we might need to reassess what's going to happen with our
and how does that impact your sustainability goals?
Well, essentially, we are aiming, our sustainability goals with regards to tourism are all around the numbers of tourists we're gonna get. We have a big investment.
The more money coming in,
yes,
then
exactly.
I guess you can put
Currently,
more back
we have
into the destination.
we have a big investment from the public and private sector collaborations in 2 new tourist sites that we are launching next year in 2025. So we are counting on the numbers of tourists that we have been working for historically. So we are very positive, and one of the positive people that have been speaking today, as Rachel was at the beginning, and I feel it's going to work out, and we're going to get a deal that's going to work out. But we are aiming at that. So hopefully our sustainability and our tourism product will remain a sustainable one, and we'll be able to work with the numbers that we have been seeing have been rising for us in the past few years. And I know this has been a trend in the tourism sector as a whole. We've come from very bad and dark times, so now we're seeing the light again. So for us, we always need to have that little, as we say, this little fly behind our ear, kind of buzzing away, and but working with a very positive outlook.
Okay, I want to come. We're not going to get away without not talking about climate change as a challenge, but let's just stick on funding at the minute, if we may. And Eleni, particularly around tourism taxes as a way of, creating some more money into some of these projects. But I know you had to defend some sort of criticism about tourism taxes at the ABTA convention. Do you want to just sort of pick up on what you're doing as a country?
Well, defend true in a kind of way, but truly from the other side, because we didn't communicate it correctly. So when you get out with a tax that people don't understand what it's for, just call it the green tax, I totally understand that this might be a reaction. So I'm happy, finally, after almost 10 years of the Greek financial recession, to say that 300 million euro are going to be invested in Greece for the Greek infrastructure, which is totally connected with tourism. And that is the budget, it's part of the RRF, the Resilience Fund, one of the good things of the European Union, of course, and be able to focus on infrastructure and things that it has to do with prevention of the climate crisis, because we know that a lot of things that happen with floods and wildfires, it is part of trying to prevent all these kind of things in advance. So we're very happy that budget, that investment is there, and it's going to be used for that way. So
and that's more than there's ever been sort of allocated to that previously.
It's almost, Lucy, it's almost 40% of the whole budget of the RFF that the country will take. Okay. And we're sacrificing 40% of that budget for our infrastructure in order to be able to be more resilient and
to climate change
the climate change challenges.
Okay. All right, so then if there is a tax, people hopefully will be more understanding that the government's also contributing, and it's not just a kind of frustrating tax on consumers.
Exactly, it's a combination. Okay. That's why we're asking to have a part of it.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay. Pedro, for Spain, are you seeing more money coming into sort of sustainable tourism? Is the government wanting to support that more?
Yeah, well, of course. Spain has invested, or will invest, 3.9 billion of euros between 2021 and 2026, thanks to the EU Recovery Fund. Spain is the only EU member which has included tourism in its national program of reform and investment thanks to this EU Recovery Fund. Last year, for example, Spain invested 478 million euro in tourism sustainable plans in destination program, which is a program which is, it consists of doing a lot of works projects of regeneration projects in local villages, local cities, local communities. Yes, well, thanks to the EU Recovery Fund, Spain is investing a lot in tourism. Another way of finding resources is eco-taxes, as you have talked about eco-taxes. For me, the key point in eco-taxes is that the money that you collect, the government collect, should be spent on this kind of purposes, on this kind of regenerating purpose.
And is that clear enough, these eco-taxes? Is it,
For example, in this sense, Balearic Islands last year collected, I think it's 133 million euros, and you can see how they have spent this money. There are a lot of projects. For example, there is a new pathway for pedestrians between Santa Maria and Inca. There are new cycling routes and walking routes
So they're getting better at communicating what that money, they're collecting the money in a tax, but
and they are spending and and managed well.
Yeah.
So maybe it's just a question of communicating.
All right. We haven't got loads of time left, so I do want to just talk about how climate change is affecting your destinations. Alex, we were in Switzerland together in the ski resorts, and the snow wasn't fantastic, was it? So, I mean, that is having an impact on your ski business, isn't it?
I thought Ian was the one that asking you the challenging questions, Lucy.
Well, I've worked with him for that long. It's going to rub off eventually.
You're absolutely right. We had a wonderful time despite the missing snow in the village, and I think we have to. So there's several things here. The skiing up in the mountain was lovely though, and we have to, I guess, just adapt as consumers also that certain things will change. Switzerland is in a better position. We're all in a bad position, but Switzerland is a bit in a better position. Our ski resorts are generally a bit higher up than other alpine countries, but that alone obviously is not that doesn't help long term. But it does impact our strategy. We're pushing summer obviously much more. Summer in the Alps is one of the most amazing experiences you can have. It's not as busy. There's great deals to be had, and it's just a wonderful time to experience nature in summer. Winter sports will continue. There's many ways you can farm snow. So in certain places they have great they develop new technologies or new procedures how you keep some of the snow from last winter and keep that into next winter. Without using energy or anything like that, just by putting it in the right place and then getting it out again. There's of course artificial snow, etc., etc. But we also maybe have to say goodbye to the idea that you can still ski down to the village in early April. That is just not normal. It was never normal, and it's just maybe also the expectations that have to be managed a bit. Okay. Yes, and I hope you still had a wonderful time. I think
I had a wonderful time. But it's still an issue, and I know that you're happy. It's something that's being discussed, and you are putting in sort of.
Where it benefits us is where I mentioned summer in the Alps. There's this whole trend of the coolcation, and we're obviously it's not just the Nordics and Iceland or the UK that are benefiting from that. We also in the mountains we benefit from that. If people have issues with the heat or just don't want to, they want a cooler place in the summer or in autumn, for example. That is something we see a shift towards summer and autumn in the Alps.
The winter sports may change, but you've got other things to sort of balance it out. Okay. Eleni, I know you talked about the fund that's going to help some of the climate change issues, but what other strategies are you putting in place to sort of cope with the higher temperatures? And I know you're trying to get people to go out into different, longer seasons into November, etc. So,
well, Lucy, we have a secret agreement with Switzerland that the people that they don't want to go in the summer, they could go in Switzerland, and the winter they will come in Greece.
Right, okay. Because so you're just going to switch them over.
Exactly.
I like that.
It's just a mindset, and this is part of educating the public as well. But it's not easy, I have to say. It's very challenging. Although we had the best October ever for Greece because people wanted to visit.
And after the wildfires in Rhodes, you had the best. And I think EasyJet, they were saying that actually they had one of the people didn't stay away from Rhodes. So it's all in the media. It's very high profile, but it's not really affecting numbers yet.
True. It didn't affect numbers, and on the opposite, I would say that people, when they were seeing that it was hot, they tried to go either in autumn or in the spring, and this is part of our strategy as well.
Okay,
of
so overall numbers are all right, but you are seeing a shift in
a shift in autumn. We are trying now to push and collaborate with our tour operators to start earlier, to start in April if it's possible, depending a lot of Easter. But it's not only the tour operators, because sometimes, of course, they have the will. It's the public, it's the tourists, it's the consumers that they need to have more options in their mind, and that's the most challenging part, to convince and change the mindset that Greece is not only for summer, but you can have a great holidays in spring or in April as well.
Yeah. Okay. And Pedro, just because it's been so recent with the flooding, Valencia and Barcelona, what are you going to be doing anything to try and mitigate all of that? Because it's all over the news. Will it affect your numbers?
Well, I would like to have some special words about Valencia, for Valencia region. I have to say that all the main train network has been reestablished. All the highways and the main roads are working now well. There is no problem to visit Valencia now. Valencia city hasn't been affected. There are some little villages in the metropolitan area of Valencia which has been affected. So the immediate
problem has been averted.
The government is dealing with the local government.
And what
and the
about
national
long term though? Do you see this as being something that you're going to have to think about because it could happen every year?
Yes, of course.
Hopefully not.
No.
Hopefully not, but.
is the climate change, and I think that we need to be adapted and we need to tackle these challenges. There are many works to be done in hydrological, I don't know how to say in English. We need to do more in public works and public infrastructures, and this is something we need to learn about the tragedy that we have had. So there will be more public works, more investment to adapt.
How can the UK travel industry help you to overcome some of these issues? Is that, I mean, you've got lots of tour operators, airlines, etc. in the room. Can they help in any way? A question for any of you: what would you like to see us doing more of?
Well, I think that the concern that all the British industry has about sustainability really helps. I truly believe that we do things better than 5 years ago, and that we are improving. And there's more to come in the next years. Regarding, this weekend we are holding a ITO conference in Valladolid, which is a very off the beaten track Spain, and they are collecting money for a charity in Valencia. So I only have to say that the British industry is fully concerned and fully aware of the challenges that everybody has. And thank you for this kind initiative.
Great, okay. All right, Eleni, from you, in terms of what you would like to see from this industry, you know, obviously collaboration is very key for you, but anything else you'd like to see from this industry?
Oh, it's very straightforward, Lucy, and very easy for me. We would like to see more destinations connected with Greece or offered in the tour operators' packages, instead of just having more flights. So we definitely are happy with more flights and increasing the capacity.
You want to spread them out to different islands and different
destinations.
Yeah,
exactly.
Okay, all right, Alex, for you?
It's very similar, obviously. While Switzerland is small, there's parts of Switzerland that the UK travel industry has not, or bigger operators have not yet discovered. So we were very interested in having conversations with tour operators, trying to put new parts of Switzerland on the map, getting people on the public transportation as much as possible. It offers everything they need. But also, I think it's a great opportunity for the entire travel trade right now to show also how relevant and how much they can contribute to this major issue, especially in a time when there's a lot of people out there who still believe that the travel trade is not as relevant as it used to be. This is now the time to show and to shine and to show what we can jointly can achieve, and the results we can show by getting new seasons, new destinations, etc., discovered, and getting new kind of product out there in the market.
Brilliant. So. Okay. All right. The clock is flashing, so we'll have to leave it there, but great place to end it on. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in thanking Christian and Alex and Eleni and Pedro.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you very much.